Hey guys, it's Caden. Welcome to another Autism Digest interview, where today we have someone who's been in the works for about a month or so now. He's a music video director. I came across his tell-all post on the Autism Speaks Instagram page, and I looked into the story. He's worked with several rappers, and the biggest one being Aryon Jones, which video was on the Joe Rogan podcast and has 2 million views on YouTube. He's on the spectrum, and he is Quinton Peters, aka QPZ. Thanks for coming on, Q.
Hey, thanks for having me on here. I'm glad to be here.
Of course, for those that don't know the name QPZ, do you mind telling us your story in your own words?
Yeah, sure. So the nickname that I got, which was QPC, originated back in high school. I used to do like a lot of track and field. So like a couple of my track teammates used to like call me like a variation of that. It was like QPZ. It was like a little bit more extended. So, and then when I heard it in there, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll just shorten up, like three simple letters, and that's where the nickname came from.
Oh, that's amazing. My next question for you is, how do you think autism helps you when you make the music videos?
So I think like the strengths of autism, like how some people have like, we have this sort of like this kink, like this obsession, whereas like we want to learn so much about like, a certain thing. So it was like that can be such a great positive way as like a driving force to really dive into that thing that you're very super passionate about. And the really funny thing is about when it comes to like music videos, it's one of like those super obscure things. And I guess that for me personally, I love that sort of stuff. So it makes me like, like very intrigued and obsessed. And it makes me want to just like learn so much more because there's like so much of it that's not generally talked about, like, like on YouTube and stuff. So you have to like go into all these other communities that generally are not, operated by people who are on the spectrum. So it was very interesting to see that there was like, there wasn't really so much of that being talked about. So just learning more and more about that as I'll say, okay, well, maybe if I learn more that sort of thing, there's more ways for me to help not only bring this out and bring it more aware to, for people who are on the spectrum or any sort of like, learning disabilities that want to get into this field. I'd be more than happy to try like, bring more information than that, but also just be able to have that information be open to generally just everybody so everybody can be included, not just like people on the spectrum.
Yeah, I really like that perspective. And it's amazing how music can unite all folks of different divergences and neurodiversities. My next question for you is, out of all the artists you've worked with in your career, who is your favorite to work with and why?
Um, I guess generally I've been currently working with this one artist out here in Seattle, Washington. He goes by the name Sari Savvy. He's like a local artist from the members of the LGBTQ community. So I've been working with him a lot closely. Just trying to like get certain songs that that represent more like his personal story, and as well as give him more like an insight into into his community, and also since he's Asian, so you can combine like those two different communities and put them together, and usually ways that people can actually get to understand him more personally as an artist, and well as more as insight to how his experiences was, growing up here in America, growing up not only as like an Asian singer, but also just as member of the LGBTQ community.
He sounds like a very talented artist. I'll have to check him out. My next question for you is, you worked with Aryon Jones, and
Mhm.
that video specifically got over 2 million views on YouTube
Yep.
and got a spot on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Mhm.
What was that experience like for you when you found out that that music video made it onto those platforms?
Man, the time when that video was released, that was like a very, very rough time, I think, for a lot of everybody, since that video was released during, the pandemic, COVID. So that really screwed a lot of people's lives up. So I was actually out on the road doing like a podcast project with an agency that I was hired by, which we also did that video as well. That's how I got into that whole Aaron Jones music video. So around the time it got released, it got roughly around like a million views within like I like to say within a month or so. It's been so long, but I was out on the road, so a lot of things were just happening to me back and forth. But that was a really dope experience. I honestly had no idea what to really expect, what was going to happen. I kind of just was just a part of that project, trying to give help out as much as I could. And that was actually one of my first, break-ins into music videos, even though I wasn't directing that video per se, but it was more like it gave, like me inspiration to say, well, if I could work on a project helping out a team that could get a music video up to say like over a million views, and I was like, well, see if I can just do it for myself and then try to eventually be able to give somebody that same opportunity down the road.
Hey man, Pat, that's what we need in today's society now more than ever for neurodivergent individuals. Opportunities, not just in the film or music industries, but in all industries, pretty much. My next question for you is, what's your advice for anyone, neurodivergent or not, that wants to make it in the film or music industry?
Well, just ask yourself, do you really want to do this? And if you're going to generally want to do this, well, you're going to have to understand that this passion has to come first, because if you try to go into the situation trying to go after money, you're going to be very miserable and you're going to be very frustrated, and you're going to start to understand that clearly that you don't necessarily have the necessary skill sets to make it into that industry, because a lot of times it's about networking and knowing who knows you as well as how do they know you. So, and a lot of times it's like you're going to be spending a lot of time and a lot more money trying to get to, certain individuals within that industry, not just only in the film industry, that's just in general. So basically to get you to where you think you really need to be at. And normally, since I live up here in Seattle, Washington, so there's not necessarily like too many opportunities. It's just mostly most of the work I've gotten and that you have probably have seen on my YouTube or in the stuff I've written in my articles. Most of that time is mostly me just going after that myself. Like nobody didn't tell me how to do this. And a lot of it's just more like had to test the waters, probably had to mess up a few times, but just like right now, I'm still currently on my journey. I'm still at the time of this recording, I'm still doing a couple more projects, and still I'm going out to say cities like LA, because that's usually that's a much more bigger hub. That's where the film industry started, and generally there's a lot more people out there. And since LA is a massive city, you're going to find numerous people that are going to help you get you certain opportunities. It's just more like you just got to show up. That's like the most biggest important thing. Don't worry about the paycheck, just show up.
I really like that advice. I really do. Oh, my last question for you is, what does the future hold for you? Do you have any other videos in the works? And do you have any artists that you'll be working with in the future or that you want to work with?
I do have a couple of music videos that are being released soon. I don't want to really speak too much. I'll post those more on social media. So once I announce those, I'll announce those. And then I would say maybe like for in the future, I probably would love to stay work with maybe like an artist, say like Doja Cat, for example, or maybe Kendrick Lamar. Those are like some more popular examples, but those are like come of the few couple artists I would be very interested in working with. But yeah,
Yeah, all that sounds amazing. Anyways, that's going to do it for this interview, guys. Thank you so much to Q for coming on and sharing his story. If you guys want to see more amazing interviews, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Autism Digest YouTube channel. Stay tuned for our August issue that comes out next month by going to autismdigest.com. And stay tuned for the Spotify file to be posted on our Spotify by typing in Autism Digest on the Spotify search bar. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
take care, y'all.